Welcome to the Investor Coaching Show, a podcast to help you get an insider's view of the financial world and escape common investment traps. We look at the financial news of the day and help you make sense of it so you can relax about money. And here's your host, Paul Winkler.
All right, back here on the Investor Coaching Show, Paul Winkler. PaulWinkler.com is the website. You can check out the new workshop on Medicare supplements and Advantage plans and all of that good stuff on there. If you go to webinars, you can check that out right there. And as well as all kinds of things. There's a workshop on Social Security there and just about any topic that you want. You go and do a search on there. That's how that works. Okay, so one of the things that, it kind of gets me is that there was years ago, I got this big box in the mail. And it was a beautiful box. It had some really nice stuff in it, and like a gorgeous little plaque. I had in it a nice microphone, one of those old-fashioned microphones, like you see those old pictures of Elvis, and you have that slotted microphone, that he had in front of his face, right? And they sent me one of those, and I was like, wow, this is really, really cool. I love this. And, the plaque in there was gorgeous, really well framed and everything, and it basically said top 100 financial shows in the country. And I was like, that's pretty cool. It had pictures on it. It had this big, it had just a really nice little setup on there. And I called up the company, and I said, wow, this is like really cool what you guys sent me here. I wasn't expecting it. What is it? What's going on here? And the guy goes, well, you got one top 100 radio shows you're in the top 100 in the country. And, the podcast is there's some rating service out there that is rating service on podcasts. And it says, we're in the top 5% in the world on that, which is, it's really kind of pretty cool, right? It's exciting. And I'm like, well, okay, people do want to know this stuff. They want to understand it. Well, I said, what is this all about? Well, it says, we want to sponsor your show. I said, okay, who are you? Well, we are a company that does annuities, index annuities. I said, you guys are barking up the wrong tree. Years earlier, I actually had a big investment firm that wanted to sponsor the show. And, one of the people from the radio station comes to me and says, hey, this company wants to throw a bunch of money at you. They wanted to sponsor your show. And I said, who is it? And they told me who it was. I won't say the name or anything like that. But they're really into individual stocks and they're an investment firm where you can do trades and all that kind of stuff. And I said, have they ever listened to my show? And he goes, I don't know. And I said, go ask them. Because I am, just go ask them. It was funny. They never came back. They never, the conversation stopped there. Let's just put it that way. So what happened with this company, this insurance company, they wanted to sponsor the show. And I said, nah, you're barking up the wrong tree. I'm not your person. And I said, as a matter of fact, I would be picking on your product the entire time on my show. You don't want to give me any money to do that. And, of course they were, and I said, can I keep the microphone? And the guy goes, yeah, you can keep the microphone. But, so this is something that you see around the country. They have these top shows. And I'm just imagining that they sent this to all of these top 100 shows all around the country. And I asked them, how did you know it was the top 100? Well, they told me that they're the ratings. And I said, oh, okay, so it's legit. Okay, cool. So you'll have people that run these shows that will take the money and they will represent this brokerage firm on their show and they will sell their products. That's just how it works. So much of what we hear out there, the radio shows on finance, on the weekends primarily, are that. They're just selling annuity products and selling active management, stock picking, market timing. And, you go to these steak dinners. You go out to these restaurants and they have this presentation on Social Security. They have a presentation on Medicare. They have a presentation on any of these things. And, no obligation. You don't have to do anything, but you kind of feel obligated at the end of it. So I'm watching on YouTube, and there was this video that pops up. I guess I've gotten in this feed somehow. This guy is talking about his how he sells annuities. Check this out.
I'll tell you something my mom actually showed me when I was trying to learn annuities. Now, she'd been in the business about 6 months longer than I had.
So a whole 6 months longer than he had been in the business. I don't know how long they've been in business, but mom is teaching her son how to sell annuities. Isn't that precious? But anyway, I look at that and go, did mom even know what she was doing? What she was getting her son into? That's the part that to me is so sad. But anyway, I'm going to try to visually. I may stop this so you get the visual of this as he goes through. But he's teaching his audience on YouTube how to sell annuities.
But she did a hand puppet thing that I used for a very long time. It's very simple, and it describes indexing. It goes like this. I'll tell a person, look, this is you.
So he's got one hand up, and he's kind of making an upside down L with one hand. So he's got, let's say that it's his right hand is up, and the fingers are pointing inward toward his left side. And then he's got the other hand where it's pointing to, the left hand is pointing to the right. So he's got two puppets, two upside down L's, if you will, with his hands that he's making with his hands. And he's holding them both up in front of his face. So just imagine he's holding both hands up in front of his face. And he's doing this little, as he said, hand puppet thing.
It's very simple, and it describes indexing. It goes like this. I'll tell a person, look, this is you. Okay, this is you in the market. Okay.
So he's got one hand, he says, this is you. And then the other hand, this is the market. And they're both at the same level when he's doing this. Okay. So keep going.
This is you in an annuity, right? So there's the market, like the S&P 500, and then there's you in an indexing. Each year is going to go by. Market goes up, you go up.
So, one hand goes up and the other hand goes up the same amount. Right off the bat, it's misleading. He's basically telling you if the S&P 500 goes up 20%, let's say, you go up 20%. Right off, it's misleading because how do they really work? You only get, if you have what's called a participation ratio, you only get a fraction of that. Or you'll get if let's say that the market goes up and you'll have a cap at the end of each year or at the end of each month. It'll only go up a percentage or a small part of the return of the market. Now, if you're within the cap, it'll go up the whole amount of the cap, but that's not how markets work. If you look at historical returns, let's say the S&P 500 has a 10% return, historically going back 100 years. Well, it doesn't go up, let's say, 0.9%, a month or something like that. That's not, 0.8, per month. It's not how it goes up. It doesn't go up a little bit, 0.8, point up, 0.8, 0.8, 0.8, and at the end of the year be a 10% return. You'll have 1 week it goes up 10%. Or one month it goes up 10%, and then it goes down a little bit, and then it goes up 5% the month after that, and then it goes down, and then it goes up maybe it goes up 15%, and then it goes down 10%. It'll go back and forth, and it won't go up an even amount. So what ends up happening when you have a cap of, let's say, 3%, and the market goes up 10, you get 3 of the 10. Then when the market goes down, you may not go down with the market at that particular point. But let's say that if the market goes down, you can actually lose all of that return. So let's say that the market goes up 10 and they have a cap of 3. So the market goes up 10, the cap is 3, so you get 3% of that. You get 3% of that 10% return. Then the market goes down 5%. They take away all of the 3 upside. So that's one of the ways they can work, is you end up with that situation. Then they take away dividends. You don't have dividends in the return. Well, you think about it, the dividends are the return of the profit to you as the investor. And then what ends up happening is that you might have a participation rate. So if the market goes up 20% and your participation rate is 70%, you'll get 70% of 20% return. You'll get 14% of it. which, when you start to take off a lot of that upside, you end up with an investment that looks like bonds. And you end up not going up with the market. But basically what he's saying here, market goes up, you go up with it. Okay, so yeah.
Like the S&P 500, and then there's you in an indexing. Each year is going to go by, market goes up, you go up. Another year goes by, market goes up, you go up. Another year goes by, if the market goes down, what happens to you? And you stop and you look at the client, you pause just a second, because what they'll do is they'll say, well, market goes, and you go down, right? And you got to shake your hands a little bit, right? You say, oh, you stay right there. Huh.
So he's giving you the body language. The market goes up and you go up. Market goes down, and then you stay where you were. Now, the thing is that's true. A lot of these products do work that way, where the market goes down and you don't go down, but it didn't go up nearly as much as the market did. So did you do better? Well, historically, you'd be hard pressed to say that would happen very often historically. But they're telling you that, and you're telling you that it goes up with the market. They're telling you it's going up same amount. That's misleading off the bat. Then he comes out and says, okay, so it goes down. So then just picture the body language where he's kind of playing with people's emotions with this.
Furl your eyebrows a little bit.
Oh yeah, furl your eyebrows a little bit. Yeah, okay, great.
Your hands, and then let's say a year goes by, the market goes down again. Oh. You stay right where you're at.
Oh, look
market
at that.
Goes down.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it appeals to people's sense of, I want safety. So the market goes up, you go up with it, misleading. Market goes down, you don't go down, safety.
You ask the client, what has to happen now for you to start making money again? And you pause. And they'll say, well, it's got to go up. You say, for most people, the market has to go back up, get back up. And that might take, how many years do you think that takes? And they'll say, oh, it'll take a few years.
How many years do you think that takes? Now, if we look at history of the S&P 500, when the market goes down from 1956 till today, how many years has it taken for the market to recover what it lost in downturns? On average, you may have heard me say this before, it's 111 days. But what does he do? He says, how many years does it take? So he's basically put that out there. So, because he's the expert, it must be years. It can't be days. And by the way, that is from a New York Times article, a few years back, where it talked about it. You measure downturns in days, not years. Now, number one, that's the S&P 500. But what if I diversify more? What if I just don't put all my eggs in that one basket of large U.S. companies? Which is what? Diversification. But he's not even talking about reducing risk in that particular way.
Right? Say, okay, no, well, let's see what happens with your account. When the market goes up, you go up. Market goes down, you stay. Market goes up, you go up.
Misleading. Market goes up, you go up, and he's showing with his hands that it goes up the same amount.
Market goes down, you stay. Market goes up, you go up. Market goes down. How long you want to play this game, right? They'll play all day long.
That's
right?
good.
That is the...
Yeah, because you're appealing to what they want. Deep down inside, I want return with no risk. You're basically playing to their basic desire for a free lunch. Of course they'll play all day long.
Most simple way to explain. There's a cool game you can play with. Some of my agents use $2 bills.
He's
They
training
flip a
agents to
coin,
do this
husband,
garbage.
wife, that's all cool. But that hand puppet thing took me a long way.
Oh, yeah.
Right? You can make a lot of sales with that.
Yeah, you can make a lot of money playing on people's desire for a free lunch. You can make a lot of money. Now, where I came from, my mom always wanted me to tell the truth. I don't... And this mom taught him how to do this. To me, it's just sad. I don't know whether it's being misleading on purpose or it's just ignorance. I don't know which it is. But I want you as the audience to recognize how people are playing you. They're playing on your emotions. They're playing on your instincts to go away from pain, go toward pleasure. They're playing on your ignorance on how things work. You know, you don't have to. It's what P.T. Barnum says, there's a sucker born every minute, as I like to say. I just don't think you have to be one of them. Be very wary of financial people selling you something based on the idea that you get something for nothing and that there's a free lunch. It just doesn't work that way. Life doesn't work that way. Hey, this is Paul Winkler. Hope you enjoyed today's edition of the Investor Coaching Show. If you want to learn more about what we do, go to our website, paulwinkler.com. Until next time, I'm Paul Winkler, reminding you that I believe that more educated investors are more confident investors, and confident investors are more successful investors. Have a great one. Advisory services offered through Paul Winkler, Inc., an SEC-registered investment advisor. The opinions voiced and information provided in this material are for general informational purposes only and not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine what investments are appropriate for you, please consult with a financial advisor. Paul Winkler, Inc. does not provide tax or legal advice. Please consult your tax or legal advisor regarding your particular situation.